My father-in-law accused me of stealing money from the family business, but little does he know, I already knew about his dirty secret. So, at the next family gathering, I decided to expose him for every secret that he has, including his secret family. Hey guys, I'm in a bit of a dilemma. I'm here for the internet to give me a bit of advice. My father-in-law, Richard, falsely accused me of embezzlement to get rid of me and separate me from my husband, Alex. So I called his secret family over to Alex's birthday party, exposing him to everyone. I'm honestly posting this because things are tense at home, and I have no one to vent to because everyone is not exactly happy about the fact that I revealed his side chick in public manner. So, I'll provide a bit of context. I've been dating Alex for almost 5 years when I proposed to him on a romantic date. He almost immediately said yes. Alex has been with me at my worst and taken me higher than my best. His parents have been with us through the relationship. They know me. I was a broke college student when they met me. I'm laid back and they're uptight. They know I'm not posh or anything, so of course his parents had their inhibitions and reservations when it came to me. I'd always known that marrying into Alex's family would come with its own bit of challenges. They're affluent, rich people with pretty good influence. Alex's father, Richard, well, he owns, along with his siblings, an established consultancy business, and they're very popular around here. It was hard for them to trust me, an outsider from a big city. I'd proposed to Alex, and that's not vice versa, so they presumed I was just after their son's wealth. I'm also a year older, and they struggled to grasp that Alex and I were actually in love. They'd constantly hover around Alex and make sure all his needs are taken care of. It was pretty annoying at first, but it later got harmful to me. They've always held him up to a certain standard, so obviously they were weary of me. After all, Alex was their only son. Apparently, they don't get along with their daughters, and they had always been tight-knit. But I never could have predicted just how difficult things would get. When I married Alex, I never could have anticipated the stormy relationship I would have with Richard. You see, Richard always saw me as an unwelcome addition to their prestigious family. They'd sneer at my parents subtly, and making backhanded comments and showing off their wealth left and right. They considered me a country bumpkin with no sophistication, even though I told them I grew up in the city. The tension escalated dramatically when, weeks before our wedding, he falsely accused me of embezzling money from the family business. It was at a get-together with almost all the relatives and people from around town. Well, for him to accuse me of such was a pretty big blow to my career and reputation. He told me off in front of everyone and pointed fingers at me like I was the cause of every problem in his life. Well, as soon as he started, literally everybody in the room corroborated their own stories with his. Mind you, these were only assumptions and suspicions. There was no actual proof was ever found. I would have been slaughtered right then and there, but Alex protected me and shut all their mouths up. He said that if I were taking money, it was his money, and I had a right to it. He then said I had integrity and that I would never touch a single penny of his without his consent. His display of faith shut their mouths up instantly, but the damage was done. Jenna, Alex's mother, cut Alex off from a lot of their finances and instead chose to provide him a salary for his work in the company instead of having all the accounts open to him. She promised that she would provide him with whatever he needed, but that she would not risk a rat like me stealing their hard-earned money. Well, with all my job opportunities gone, we struggled the first couple of months, but we cut back and hustled our butts off. Despite the lack of evidence, the scandal rocked our lives, and my reputation was tarnished. I was ostracized from family events, and many within the family social circles believed the accusations. My career in that town absolutely went down the drain, and instead opted to work for a major company outside the town where nobody would even know me. Initially, I would travel far, but eventually they allowed me to work from home after testing my competence. Even though Alex stood by my side the entire time, the ordeal was so traumatic and created a seemingly irreparable rift between Richard and me. A lot fewer people came to our wedding, and the ones that did looked at me with disdain. My wedding was completely ruined over Richard's baseless accusations and finger-pointing. I thought it'd get better eventually, but boy, I was wrong. I was in for a long, exhausting ride, and I even had to arrange for another cake at the last minute because the bakery making our cake were old family friends of Richard and Jenna. It was all really hectic. You know how all girls dream of that perfect wedding, right? Yeah, my wedding was crappy and tainted by the hatred I got. Still, as long as Alex was still by my side, I was willing to pull through. Our wedding did not define us. Post-wedding, Richard's tactics became more insidious. I thought having kids would fix it, but frankly, it made it very worse. You know, we had kids, so they could not even separate us without hassles anymore. They could not play childish tricks to pull us apart at this time. They were even more mad at the fact, so it got worse. Richard would openly undermine me during family gatherings, favor his other grandchildren over our kids, and just constantly try to convince Alex to accept a job abroad, hoping to strain our relationship. Alex never wanted to move out. We were comfortable right where we were. Alex's mother was quick to criticize my parenting choices and undermine my authorities as a mom. Even though she acted like they were the devil's spawn, she'd often question my decisions, suggesting that I was not doing things the right way or that I was making mistakes that could harm my babies. When I asked her what to do and I just wanted some general advice from her, she would not even bother replying. She would just never look at my kids or be nice to the way she treated her niece's children. So, getting closer to why I'm posting this today. To the day I discovered evidence of Richard's infidelity. So, one day while I was at the company office to give Alex his forgotten lunch, he asked me to go to the inventory and drop off a document in Richard's office and fetch some property papers on which they wanted to build a new residential complex. While looking for these old family documents in Richard's office, I came across a series of letters. Letters from an unknown woman and child, and all referring to Richard as their father. I mean, I was not intending to snoop, but here I was scanning documents and it caught my eye. I read through the whole first page, absorbing as much information as I could, and I was stunned. This man had been seeing her for almost 10 years. My shock quickly turned to outrage as I realized that Richard had a secret family. Catherine. You see, this woman was only a couple years older than me and Alex, and as I read on, I found out that they even had a young daughter together. This had been going on for so long, even longer than our marriage, and I could not believe Richard was a pervert as well as a cheater. It just grossed me out, honestly, and I quickly kept the letters back. But not before knowing, well, exactly what was in them, so I jotted down Catherine's address. Over the next few days, I contemplated whether to reveal this to Alex or not. You see, Alex loved his father so much, and I wondered whether his daughters already knew. Maybe that's the reason they did not get along. I was never welcome in the family, but maybe that's why I decided that the next push I'd get, it would be game over for old Richard. And you know what? It didn't even take a week. I was back in the office lounge with Alex, and it was the evening time, and him and the lads took a break from work on a Friday, just to kick back, celebrate a huge successful tender bid for the company. Alex had gotten way too drunk to drive back home, so he called me to come get him. When I reached there, though, his buddies insisted that we hang around for some more time. I'd put my kids to sleep, and my best friend was next door, so heck, I thought, why not? I shot a text to my best friend to check up on the kids and that I'd be back soon. Well, it was all going smoothly until Richard brought up the incident at the get-together before my wedding. He laughed at how I got away with it and called me slick. He then mentioned that he was reviewing the CCTV cams in his office the other day and that he saw me enter, go through some papers, and leave with a document. I went pale, not wanting to explain why it took me so long for his sake. Alex sided with me and told him he was the one who sent me in there to get the document. Richard just shrugged sloppily and slurred out his words, calling me a thief. Alex got up and said he did not have the patience for this, and I grabbed his hand, and we left. Well, you know what? That was it for me. I was so done with all these false accusations that I decided I was absolutely going to annihilate his reputation. The very next morning, I went to Catherine's house through the address I pulled. She never mentioned whether she knew that Richard had a family or not already, and I was going to get to the bottom of it. Her house was very far away, so I told Alex I was visiting my parents, told my parents to cover for me, and drove off. It was 3 hours of driving, but thankfully, due to the empty roads, I got there in much less time. I got to their place, and she was actually very sweet. We talked for a bit, but she thought I was a sister missionary. She explained to me how her husband Richard was a private investigator, and how he got calls that were very far away, so he had to move around a lot. She further went on about how Richard would somehow make time for her and their daughter and visit almost every month. Yeah, very chatty woman. It did not take me long to juice all the information from her. Perhaps why Richard was able to make a fool out of her for this long. Well, after she unwittingly spilled the beans, I told her that I was actually his daughter-in-law and not actually from the church. At first she thought I was lying and asked me to leave, until I pulled out my phone and showed her my wedding photos with Richard in them. Well, then she stopped trying to push me to go and heard me out. I told her about Jenna, Alex, and his siblings. She wept so loudly as I went on, telling her how toxic he was, mistreating me and my children because I was not a very well-off family. I cleared out pretty soon after that, and I was already extremely late. I comforted her and told her my plan for revenge over the phone in the next few days. Catherine was very understanding of my rage and was very volatile herself. She wanted to confront Richard instantly, but I begged her, urged her to wait for the plan. As Alex's birthday party approached, I made a decision that would shatter the false facade Richard had so carefully maintained. Without informing anybody, I invited Richard's secret family to the party. Oh boy. The shock on Richard's face when they walked in was nothing short of gratifying. Catherine came in with her daughter and everybody was so darn confused. Then I introduced her and explained to everybody how Richard was cheating on Jenna for almost a decade with this woman now, who, by the way, was 5 years older than I was. Catherine then told her side of the story and it matched mine, adding details from her perspective and thrashing Richard. Her daughter just sat there eating cake and looking around, probably wondering why she's getting glares from the room. She was an only toddler, so she didn't really understand what was going on. Well, things escalated from there, and a full-blown argument ensued between Catherine and Jenna and Richard. The party for Alex was at our house, and Alex was fed up, and after quite a bit of back and forth, he asked everybody to leave. I actually don't know what happened after that, but Alex is a little annoyed, and I chose to act out instead of handing these more discreetly to him. Jenna called up to apologize and told me she was manipulated into thinking that I was the bad guy all these years. Well, I told her that does not excuse her behavior, and that it would take a lot more for me to forgive her. Things have been tense between me and Alex, so I wanted some advice and people to vent to. Well, hence why I posted this. Should I have dealt with this more quietly, or did I do the right thing? What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Oh boy, looks like we got ourselves in a sticky situation of a cheater. Well, there's multiple updates, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Update number 1. Hey guys, thanks for the advice and kind comments. I appreciate you all so much for allowing me a space to vent my problems. Well, not that it mattered because when I posted, not even a day later, so many things went down. So, let me provide an update on what exactly happened next. Well, Jenna moved into our house, much to my reluctance. Alex and I made up a night or two ago. Y'all can guess how that went down. Jenna has been a quiet presence in our home. She is not really talking much and mostly just stays in the guest bedroom, occasionally popping out for tea and dinner, and I don't blame her, she lost her husband and world all at once. Richard actually stopped by the other day. It was chaotic and he acted so insolent. I can't even describe. Jenna literally had to intervene and Richard and I got into a pretty heated screaming match. It was awful. He was screaming at me and calling me names, telling me I'd eventually die with the regret of ruining a family. Well, that's when I lost it. I told him the truth in plain terms. His marriage fell apart because of his actions and narcissism. I told him it did not matter if he had a successful business. He was a condescending cheater who always would be. Richard then tried to come at me, stomping angrily to God knows what, but Jenna quickly saw the rage in his eyes and grabbed a vase. And she threatened to smash it over his head if he came any closer. It was wild. He backed off pretty quickly after that, shuffling to leave out the front door like a rat. Jenna went wailing into her temporary bedroom, and I chased after her just to calm her down. I haven't heard from Catherine so far, but I honestly want to move on. Update number 2. Hey guys, I've seen all the comments asking me to check up on Catherine, and I see your point, but thankfully I don't even need to approach her. The fallout from the revelation was seismic. So, remember how I mentioned that Richard owned a business with his siblings? Well, they got curious as to where my father was getting so much money to support 2 families. They were going to crack down anyways, and there was a lot of income lost that just wasn't adding up. They brought Catherine in and asked her a couple of basic questions about how much he spent on her. She revealed that she lived a lavish lifestyle with her daughter, plenty of resources right there at her fingertips. This made them even more suspicious, and they went delving into accounts and ledgers. Well. It turns out Richard, he wasn't just a dirty cheater when it comes to a relationship, he was also cheating the business. And we're not talking about some thousands of dollars here and there, we're talking about a very, very large scale. It was unearthed that Richard had been using funds from the family business to support his secret family for years. This entire time, Richard was falsifying business records, fabricating tax records, and using fraud accounts to steal the money. This man had the audacity to point fingers at me for embezzlement? Somebody needs to point a mirror at this guy. It's just so damn ironic that he was found guilty of the same crime he accused me of. Maybe the guy was looking for a cover-up, a scapegoat. Well, it backfired pretty terribly, I'd say. He messed with the wrong person. And I did not find this out from Jenna or Alex, no. We all found this out from the freaking newspaper. That's right. This unearthing of the truth sent shockwaves through the family, sparking into a major legal dispute and, necessitating a complete restructuring of the family business. Apparently, Richard was about to go to jail, but they chose to settle it out of court. Alex got back his stakehold of the company, and Richard's part of the business was divided up between Jenna and her children. The family dynamics have been forever changed, and now I'm left wondering, am I the a-hole for uncovering this secret in such a public and dramatic manner? Update number 3. This is the final post. Hey y'all, I'm back for another update. I've read the comments saying I should be more private and I should not have done what I did. Honestly, I'm starting to think so too. Nobody gained anything. The revenge was so damn sweet, but still. I also read your advice to kick back and let things happen, and that everything that happened was for the best. But who's best? Ultimately, Alex matters the most to me, but he's not happy that his dad was a fraud and an infidel. Hopefully, he'll snap out of it soon, and meanwhile, I'm right here to support him. Catherine called me up the other day, just to congratulate me on successfully thwarting Richard and uprooting his life completely. She informed me that she was now looking for a job at her parents' house. She sold the house that Richard bought her and is living off that for now. Okay, so something unexpected happened a couple of hours ago. Alex's sister came over. Remember how I said Alex's sister cut contact with her father and never visited? So, they're sitting here now with Alex and Jenna catching up. Apparently, they found out because, surprise, surprise, Catherine was their college batchmate. They didn't say anything to Catherine. They just up and left after a huge fight, and neither of them was willing to reveal what went down, and they didn't even tell their mother and just left. But I think he blackmailed them or something. I'm not going to discuss it with Alex because he's just happy that they're back. I don't really know whether they're going to stay overnight or go, but honestly, as long as Alex is happy, I'm happy. Jenna filed a restraining order against Richard, and I don't know where he is. Even if Alex knows, he won't tell me, which is fine by me. So, thanks again, guys, for all the well wishes and kindness. That's probably my final update on this one. I'm focusing on work now, and I've cleared my name. I'm grateful for the support I've received here, and your advice was pretty useful. Alright guys, Richard was out of hand in this one. I don't even know why he would go ahead and raise so many flags by making OP look like she stole the money, when in reality, the crime that he accused her of is the crime that he committed. Crazy how he wanted to bring that to light, and basically he told on himself. Luckily though, OP was able to find a few clues. Guys, let's talk about this in the comment section down below. Go ahead and drop your thoughts about this one. It was a wild ride. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want more daily videos, the best way is simple. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya!